Welcome and greetings, career-minded superstars. You are listening to the exclusive Career Coach, your podcast for all things career. And I'm Lisa Edwards, the indispensable career coach for superstars just like you. Now let's dig into this week's topic, shall we? Go from dragging yourself to work each day to finding a job you love. The Career Spring program is for high-achieving and ambitious mid-level professionals like you who are looking for a job that uses your zone of genius, recognizes your value, and pays you what you're worth. If you're ready to learn more, schedule a complimentary consult using the link to my calendar in the show notes. Be sure to follow me on Exclusive Career Coaching on Facebook, Lisa Edwards on LinkedIn, and Lisa.Edwards on Instagram. Greetings, career-minded superstars. I haven't started with that for a while. Felt good. All right, today we want to talk about what might be holding back your career development. I leaned heavily on an article in the Harvard Business Review from December 21st of 2022, written by Helen Tupper and Sarah Ellis for this episode. For most of us, the companies that we work in, career development is rarely a priority. It's usually often not done in a very cohesive way. It's not structured. It's left up to the manager, or even worse, it's left up to the employee themselves. And there's so many urgent matters going on at work that take priority. So career planning takes a back seat. And many of us, the concept is like, what are you even talking about with career development? Like, I don't understand. So that's step one, right? Is really understanding what we're talking about here. So we want to kind of break this down into maybe some of the challenges that you've had around career development. And let me kind of phrase this for you in terms of what are we talking about here? We are not talking about, when should I change jobs and what should my next job title be? Although that can be a piece of it, it's really, think of it as skill development, experience, getting where you want to go. You're the driver of this ship, rather than I'm just along for the ride and my career is happening to me. So we want to put you in the driver's seat to control what happens. So I want to talk about the things that might be at issue that are keeping you from doing that. So the first challenge we want to talk about is the when of it all. When we have time for career development. The notion of that is essentially separating career development from our job, rather than seeing it as integrated. My career development is part of my job, and I fully believe that it should be. So what's the solution? You want to chunk down your career management and career development into short, manageable 5 to 10 minute time blocks where you can coach yourself to increase your self-awareness and identify new opportunities for action. And I would recommend that you journal your responses. So keep a career development journal. And I'm going to give you some possible questions to answer. Now, notice what I said here, manageable 5 to 10 minute chunks. I have found that when I have activities, I've got 2 or 3 right now that are on my calendar for most days of the week, where I'm spending 15 minutes doing certain activities. And I find that what that has done for me is some progress is better than no progress, right? So when I was saying, when I have a block of 5 hours or 6 hours or whatever it would take to complete the thing, whatever the thing is, I may never get to it. I may never find that much time at once. But if I chunk it down to 15 minutes, I can make progress as slow as it is. I feel good about the fact that I'm making that. So I set my phone for 15 minutes, and when it's done, I wrap up the sentence I'm on or the thought or whatever it is, and I'm done. The other thing I want you to think about with this 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15-minute time blocks, is that you can increase your self-awareness, identify new opportunities for action. So here are some questions that you might want to ask yourself. What do I want to build a reputation for? In other words, what do I want to be known for? Next question. If I were to leave my current position tomorrow, what tasks would I want to bring with me and why? What tasks would I want to leave behind and why? Next question. What is something I've always wanted to learn or learn more about, and why? How might this interest play into my professional life? Notice that I didn't say, what is something professional that I've always wanted to learn, but it's this notion of what in my life have I wanted to learn more about or learn at all about, and how might that interest play into my professional life? Next question. What do I really like about my current employer and industry? What do I dislike? Next question. Who is someone I admire professionally, and what do I admire about them? How might this admiration play into my career? What would that thing that I admire about that person, what would that look like if I were to aspire for that in my own career? Next question. If money were no object, what have I long been attracted to, and why? How might I incorporate this interest into the career field I am in or want to be in? So again, these are questions that you can journal over, 5, 10, 15-minute blocks each day to really start to think about where I am now, where might I want to go, and what might I need to do to get there? As you uncover your responses to the prompts, you want to come up with a game plan that would answer the kind of now what question. So now that I've kind of looked at where I want to go and how I think I might need to get there, the next step is I need to get there, right? I need to take some action steps. I don't want to just wish it into being. That's not going to happen. I want to take steps. So it might be something like I need to meet with my boss about certain thing, or taking on a new responsibility. Maybe I want to sign up for a class or a program. Maybe I want to find a mentor to help me with a specific issue. The next challenge is who. Who can help you with career development? This thought, this notion, puts your career development in the hands of other people. And we don't want to do that. We want our career development to be in our own hands. And sometimes it's not possible for your direct supervisor to be your most valuable source of support, either because that person is extremely busy and can't be bothered, isn't particularly interested in your career development. Maybe you guys don't have a great relationship. So what you might want to consider here is peer-to-peer learning. It could be colleagues from your current organization. It could be a group that you get together outside of your organization. And you want to be sharing challenges, sharing ideas, and learning together. To get started, I would recommend a tool like Slack or WhatsApp and share the purpose of the group. So this could, again, be internally with some people that you think might be interested in something like this. And this is not ever presented as, if you're unhappy with your current job, it's not that. It's like we want to develop in community. So it could be some friends that you get together outside of work. Could be that you want to get together a wide range of people who are all in the same industry in different companies. It could be whatever you want it to be. The point here is that if a group doesn't already exist that you can plug into, don't let that be an excuse. Create your own. And then you could start with about 5 people that a close circle of people, and then invite them to each invite somebody. So you want to keep the group, to a manageable size. If you think about if everybody invited one person, that would be a group of about 10 to 12 people, and that may be probably the max that you would want. And you want to ask everyone to share something they've read, they've watched on, a video or television, or listened to that they found helpful in their current role. And again, the prompts would vary depending on, is this a group based around my company that I belong to and everybody's in different jobs? Is it people who are in the same work at different companies? Is it a random group of people because we figure that, as a marketer, I can learn from a salesperson and the salesperson can learn from the HR person? So the prompts are going to depend on what kind of group you put together. But I highly recommend that. Don't bemoan the fact that there is no group for you. Start one. The next challenge is what? If you aren't sure what area or even what field you want to develop in, you might use that as an excuse to not get started. So if you know that you're not in the field you want to be in, let's not just sit there and, moan and wallow in it. The first step here is what the article calls a learning navigator. a way to prioritize what you learn, to distinguish between what you need to know from what's nice to know, as well as what's relevant for your current role versus what might be relevant for future roles. So here's a quadrant, and of course you can refer to the show notes if you want to see this, but thinking about this as a quadrant. So upper left-hand corner, need to know. Upper right-hand corner, nice to know. Bottom left-hand corner, important for today. Bottom right-hand corner, important for the future. And this process then, as you kind of think about what you need to learn, what you'd like to learn, what you need to know today versus, if I'm promoted to a vice president role or a manager role, whatever, what I need to know for that. This helps you to sort of spot themes, commonalities, where do I start on this thing? But it's just a nice place to kind of dump your knowledge thoughts, if you will. And then the final challenge is where. If there are no perceived career development opportunities where you work, you may become really frustrated and you may lose motivation. You just think, okay, well, if my company doesn't provide it, it must not be that important, so I won't focus on that. So what I want you to do for this is to write down one internal opportunity you would like to make happen. Answer this prompt. This opportunity is important to me because. And then next, identify 2 to 3 ways you could get that result that you're looking for. So here's an example. I would like to become known as a subject matter expert for change management in my organization. And this is important to me because I am passionate about helping people and organizations navigate change, and I'm a strong communicator and I enjoy helping others. So here's 3 ways that I might attain this. Number 1, I could talk to my boss about getting on a change management team. Number 2, I could seek out a change management certification program and ask my boss if the company will pay, but if they won't, I'm going to support it. Then number 3, I could ask the head of change management at my organization if he would be willing to mentor me. So those are 3 possible ways, and they're not mutually exclusive. I could choose to do 2 or all 3 of them for that matter, or I could start all 3 of them and see where am I getting the most value for my time and energy. The bottom line is this: not every organization is going to offer you structured career development. I think back on my 20 plus years in higher education, and in retrospect, one of the most fascinating and disconnected things about higher education was that we had no structured career development. There was nothing. Now, we had discounts if we wanted to pursue a degree, but it wasn't valued. It wasn't talked about. There was no one. We didn't even have an HR department we had a benefits function. We had no transformational HR. We had no one running the ship saying, hey, here's how you get to the next level. And nor did we even have career ladders that you could aspire to. So that's probably why they didn't have career development. But it was on us. And I was very conscientious with my team in selecting conferences and trainings that would answer, questions that they had or meet needs that they felt the office had or that they personally had. But not every organization is going to offer it in a structured way. So, and even fewer than that will do it well and have a very cohesive program. So ultimately, this is your responsibility, and I would argue your obligation to yourself to think strategically about where you want to get to and how best to get there. I hope this has been some food for thought on your own career development and how to look at it, how to overcome maybe something that has been holding you back from this. Probably it falls into one of those who, what, when, or wheres that I talked about. And best wishes on coming up with a plan to manage your own career development. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to The Exclusive Career Coach with Lisa Edwards, CEO of Exclusive Career Coaching. It would be great if you would rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Also, I want to be your career coach, so be sure to ask questions about your career management challenges and job search situation. Until next time.